Greetings! I am a bottle of wild cherry, clearly Canadian sparkling water beverage, and you're watching the New Manchester YouTube channel. I have declared this YouTube channel as sole property of Canada. That's right, sole property of Canada. The New Manchester YouTube channel is part of Canada. Donald Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state. Then me, a Canadian bottle of wild cherry, clearly Canadian sparkling water beverage will make the New Manchester YouTube channel part of Canada. And if you don't like it, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth. That's right, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth. I'm gonna punch you in the mouth. I punched New Manchester in the mouth and took over his channel. He's laying on the floor right now.
He punched me in the mouth.
I'll punch you in the mouth if you don't shut up. Enjoy this video. Thank you.
Bonjour, and welcome to another New Manchester YouTube video. This is yours truly, Richard. I haven't made a video since March, and here it is, April. Yeah, I had a lot on my mind. I've been busy as of late. In a previous video, I talked about, I want to, shut this account down and stop making YouTube videos, but I decided to leave this account open and continue making content, even though it's going to be lackluster and not that great. But it is what it is. I'm in a different climate now. My videos along with my channel is exposed to a new crop of casual viewers and I guess brand new subscribers. So I don't know who you guys are or how old you are, and that's just a message to people who sub to this channel. But hey, to each its own. I'll just continue to just power on and just make videos about whatever I want to talk about. Yeah, I think I pissed off a lot of disabled people who subbed to this channel. What I said in the previous video, I'm just being open, I'm just being honest, So, some of those people commented in the comment sections of one of these videos, and I just chose not to respond to them because, I'm just running on a hamster wheel, communicating with these people. So, I don't hate people with disabilities. I don't hate special needs people, like people with, Asperger's syndrome or autism. I don't hate those people. I just feel that I just can't communicate with these people. They're on their Asperger's or autism episodes where they just freeze up and never speak or whatnot. So I'm not going to waste my time talking to these people. And I'm not, I'm just better off, communicating with people who can talk back and forth with me. Yeah. I know people with disabilities in society are treated like dirt. They're treated like animals. Um, some are in prisons, locked up, and got some who were involved in murders, and they're put on death row and executed, which is kind of sad. And people with disabilities who get into all kinds of trouble and end up behind bars, they didn't have the accommodations. They didn't have the accommodations to help them be productive members of society by learning how to do things for themselves, like like do their own laundry, have a job, pay their bills, you know, um, find a find someone to spend the rest of their lives with through marriage and start a family and just have a decent life, just like a person who doesn't have a disability. Accommodations through through education and help through school. They can live a normal life just like everybody else, but yeah, ignorant parents of children with disabilities who just they don't educate them through special accommodations. They don't they don't give them that help that can help them be decent members in society. They just weirdly just shelter them. When they graduate from high school and they become adults, and they just shelter them and just do everything for them, treat them like children, talk to them like children, and talk down to them, and gaslight them, and just piss them off, and just set them off, and they just lose it and just go on like temper tantrums and sprees and just get in all kinds of trouble, and they end up behind bars, and they're just put on death row and just be executed on death row. Like if they're accused of a murder, or they were involved in a murder. And the ones who are accused of murder didn't have anything to do with murder. It had nothing to do with murdering a person. And you know, yeah, countries like this that I'm living in do this, and I don't know about other countries because, well, in other countries, people with disabilities are treated like dirt in other countries. You know, um, in society, they always talk about women's rights, the rights of black people, transgender people, LGBT community. Yeah, they care more about these people, but they don't give two fucks about someone with special needs. It's just kind of sad, really. Yeah, yeah, I get it. Some people with special needs, some of them are shitty, some of them are just crappy people, and some of them are shitty, crappy people, some of them are good people, but all in all, they should be treated like human beings, not animals. So, I'm just gonna just leave it at that. Since Donald Trump has been going crazy and slapping tariffs on every country in the world, like for car parts and light trucks and whatnot. And the consumers, here in the US are going to pay more for something that they need. yeah, you know, I look at all of this, like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like, leave the U.S. and move to another country through all of this. I'm saving my money to go abroad, and and by the way, in the fall I'm gonna be heading overseas for a cruise on a cruise ship to sail from China to South Korea to Japan and back. So this cruise is going to be in the autumn, just like the one in 2023, the Mediterranean cruise from 20 yeah way back in 2023, October of 2023. Um yeah, it was that cruise was a mixed bag along with the transportation, no, not transportation, but flights on an Italian airplane or airlines. Yeah, the Italian airlines was just that I was on was just horrible. Male stewardess were bumping into me, and these male stewardess were acting like children. They're Italian, they're acting like children and bumping into people and bumping into me. And the bathroom on that plane was just absolute disgusting. It was gross. Basically, it was the same flight that took me from New York to Rome in Italy and Europe, and back from also from Italy, from Rome, Italy, back to New York. So that flight was terrible. Um, so yeah, I just hope this Asian cruise in the autumn of this year, I hope it's going to be better, along with this flight that I'm going to be going on to fly from where I live to China. Yeah, I got to get a visa to go to China because China is a authoritarian dictatorship country. So, there's a certain family member who's very ignorant of the country and calling these people assholes because they want her to sign some forms the way they wanted her to sign. They wanted to sign that form the way they want her to sign it. Excuse me. So yeah. So I'm not mad at that. It's just different. It's just how China is. But yeah, the people. I heard stories about people in China being nice, being nice, kind, sociable people. It's a mixed bag about China. Some say the Chinese are rude. Some say they're nice people. You know, I heard that the people are decent, but the government of their country is very authoritarian and tyrannical. There's something I don't like about the United States. The people here. Yeah, I ain't gonna say that all people in the U.S. are bad. I mean, there's some good people in America, but a lot of them aren't good. You got these Americans who like to tear people down and make them feel less about themselves and tell them they're not good enough, they're not going to amount to anything, and tell them you had all the chances in the world and you blew it. Yeah, after they drive you to do something that you will regret, and they just want you just to blame yourself for everything, and they program you to blame yourself for everything, telling you to blame yourself, it's your fault. Then you got these Americans who just frown upon an American who wants to leave the United States and move abroad, and they tell them that they have so much freedom. They live in a country with so much freedom, and It costs a fortune to move abroad. You have a 12th grade education. You didn't finish college, and if you try to get a job abroad, and the people in that country are going to ask you, what kind of education you got? Oh, I got a 12th grade education. And they say all this stuff to you to tell you that, also they say that, if you move abroad, you ain't going to like it in that country. You're going to move right back to the US. Yeah, some people who left the US, they move abroad and they live in that country, and they never come back. And the only time they're going to come back to the US, they're just going to come here and visit as a tourist. And they're not going to move back here because they know that the US is a sinking ship. Yeah, I see Bernie Sanders, the independent senator from Vermont, who's 83 years old, holding huge holding huge rallies on the fight to stop oligarchy in the US. And yeah, the US is an oligarchy. It's all about, this country is about like building up the rich and destroying the poor and the middle class. People who get up and work, people who get up every morning and work hard, and you got people who live from paycheck to paycheck, and people are struggling. I know you can't save America, you can't change the country. I mean, people like Bernie Sanders, David Hogg, and others who want to change America, they won't be able to change it. It's going to stay the way it is. But never say never. But maybe they probably can make a difference. They probably can make that change to pump up regular everyday people to change the country and make the U.S. better for them and future generations. But I've given up on the U.S. by not voting anymore. Because what's the point, I think doing vote I'm going to cast is I'm going to vote with my feet and leave the U.S. and move to another country where I can have a better quality of life than the life that I'm living right now here in the U.S. And you got go back to these Americans who are crappy, and they like to tear people down, and they say something like this. See that, like, you're not smart enough, you don't have the education and the money to move abroad. You might as well just stay here and live in the US until the day you die. And someone who says that, they can't tell someone to stay in a country that they're living in, and they want to preach to someone that they want to preach to someone and say that they have so much freedom in the U.S. Well, I guess you have the freedom to do whatever you want in the U.S., but you don't have the freedom to move to another country and leave the U.S. and never come back because that's deemed unpatriotic. Well, I don't care what those people think. And none of you shouldn't care what these people think either. I mean, it's up to you, and it's up to me if I want to move, if we want to move to another country or not. That's our choice. Americans who are patriotic don't have the right to say that we don't have the right to leave our country. But we do have that right. Moving to another country, living better is a valid option. It's a simple option. It's an easy option. You don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay in the U.S. if you want to or not. And an American can't tell you to stay here and never move abroad. You can move to another country and you can do it. It's an option. No one can't tell you where you can live at. where you want to live at is up to you. You know, everything nowadays, it's like everybody is going crazy now. Everybody's everybody just losing their minds. I don't know what it is. It's like everybody just going crazy. Like everything just out of whack and upside down and backwards. Nothing makes sense. Everybody, it's just a bunch of stiff, lifeless robots. They like to judge someone and laugh at someone behind their backs. And I don't care about all that shit. And I don't. Cause all that stuff don't bother me. I don't give a damn about all of that stuff. But let's face it, those people who do all that stuff, just remember, they have a low life expectancy and they're not going to live that long because they eat unhealthy foods and they got a broken, dysfunctional, bureaucratic healthcare system that let them go bankrupt over medical bills, deny them health care and medicine that they need to stay alive, and just let them die. Then you got some crazy Americans out there who are conspiracy theorists, who are like conservative, and they listen to Alex Jones. And I think there's this guy that I'm friends with. I'm not gonna say his name. I probably said his name. He has Asperger's syndrome. And he told me that Alex Jones is correct on the Sandy is right about the sorry about the slip of the tongue, folks. He said that Alex Jones is correct on saying that the Sandy Hook massacre was a hoax. He said that Alex Jones is correct. Well, if Alex Jones is right about the Sandy Hook massacre being a hoax, then why come he's being sued by the family members of the victims of the Sandy Hook massacre? If Alex Jones was correct, he wouldn't be sued. But he's being sued, so therefore he's wrong on what he's saying. He's wrong. Then this guy who I know said that the state of Texas is going to be taken over by people with blonde hair and blue eyes. Now think about that. That's someone who's completely wacky and out there. But then again, I got nothing against people with disabilities. People with Asperger's syndrome or autism, or they have the combination of the two. I got nothing against these people, but I'm going to say this, if they go around and say something that's wrong, people are going to call them out on what they're saying. They can get into their Asperger's or autism episodes all they want. They're going to be challenged. People are going to call them out for what they say. They have to take criticism. And that's what they forget. I know they have a hard time trying to process information and try to speak because, someone talks a lot, it's a big overload on them. It's a big overload on their minds. But that's just how they are. And, and I look at these people and, I just can't talk to these people, and I just can't. I might as well just talk to people who don't have Asperger's or autism. I'm not trying to put these people down. I just feel that I can't talk to these people. So, yeah. I look at the United States of America and what it has become under Donald Trump, being authoritarian and having foreign students who go to universities all over the U.S. and have them arrested if they talk about the Holocaust or whatnot, and talk about something that Donald Trump doesn't like, and Donald Trump is going to punish them, and Donald Trump is, as president, is deporting people who came to the U.S. and sending them back to their home country, and people from Canada are caught up in this. It's just insane. It's just crazy, and it is. I don't know this country anymore. I don't know. You know, it just, I don't know. It just makes me sick to my stomach. It just bothers me, and all of this makes me want to move to another country, and by the way, I said this in a previous video. I'm gonna say this again. I'm supporting Canada in this tariff war. Also, I'm gonna support the United Kingdom and France, and I'm just gonna support countries that are not tyrannical dictatorships like China. I'm going to support countries that have way more freedom than the U.S., who are being hit hard by these tariffs by the United States under President Trump. And seeing how Canada is and seeing how strong that country is, I wish I was Canadian. In a previous video, I said I wasn't. I said that I'm not. I'm glad I'm not Canadian because of how messed up some things in Canada are. I changed my mind. I wish I was Canadian. I wish my ancestors went with Harriet Tubman through the Underground Railroad to Canada. And if that happens, I won't be living in the United States. I'll be living in Canada. I'll be living somewhere in Canada. British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nouveau Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Nova Scotia, Nova Scotia, Nova Scotia, Nouvelle-Écosse, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland and Labrador, or any of these provinces in Canada. I'm probably going to be living in probably somewhere in southern Ontario. Yeah. Maybe I won't be an angry, loudmouth, ignorant American if I was Canadian. So yeah, I had a hard time pronouncing Nova Scotia. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think that's all I gotta say in this video. Okay, more videos to come for this channel. So I'm not gonna have all of you wait long for another New Manchester content on this channel. All right. This is Richard of the New Manchester YouTube channel saying this. Cheers and au revoir. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.